So I watched Fight Club, right? 2 days ago now, and the movie's absolutely brilliant. Okay, you should watch it. I will be spoiling some of the movie, um, because I mean we're here to talk about philosophy, right? But yeah, you should watch the movie. It's absolutely brilliant. Yeah, but not only is the movie brilliant, I think the philosophy is brilliant as well, right? So what am I talking about? So number one is Tyler Durden, the one played by Brad Pitt, right, is the absolute epitome of a Andrew Tate character. Okay, he looks for young men that are discontent with their lives, and then he gets them to join almost like a cult, right? No, it is a cult. To join his cult and to do whatever his heart desires, right? So yeah, Tyler Durden is Andrew Tate. So in some way, we're also doing a commentary on Andrew Tate. I'm 2 years late to the party now, right? The guy is absolutely irrelevant, but it is what it is, right? So yeah, um, Tyler Durden, and the whole movement of his like the anarchy and stuff. That's all very reminiscent of this idea of like men not having a place in the world, and they feel emasculated and feminine, and they have a need to feel masculine, right? And this need manifests itself in doing stupid shit, right? And this masculinity is the theme all throughout the movie, right? The movie starts with Bob, and his he has no I'm just gonna say it, bro. He has no balls, and he has giant man titties. Okay, so right off from the kick of the movie, you have this theme of like he literally is no longer well, he lacks the testosterone basically. He lacks the testosterone to be a man, right? That's why he has the man titties, right? And throughout the movie, we have this theme of like cutting off balls, right? Like, what do you do when somebody betrays the movement? You cut off their balls, right? And Tyler Durden almost gets his balls cut off at the end too, right? So there's that, and then we have this idea of like a fight club, right? Fighting is a very like masculine thing, and I feel like every guy, like I don't know, um, like they have a natural instinct, like a tendency maybe towards a certain degree of violence, right? I mean, because that's just the way nature is, right? To live in the state of nature, you need to be able to fight, right? And I guess in nature historically, that has always been men that have done the fighting, right? I don't think that's a hot take, right? Like humans are specialized, and men just so happen to be specialized towards fighting, right? For better, for worse. But that's the way it is, right? So there's that, and then yeah, so there's that. Um, Masculinity and like he need like uh right. So the whole Fight Club is an idea almost of these men reclaiming or yeah, like they're empowering themselves, right? For these men, like fighting and Fight Club for these guys is like what OnlyFans is for girls nowadays. Okay, they are instead of being ashamed of their violent tendencies and whatever, right? Like how you shouldn't be ashamed of like your sexuality or whatever, right? They are what do you call it? Expressing themselves through a underground fight club, right? And so number one, fight clubs are illegal, right? Because I mean, like people get like really hurt, and it's not something the government wants to encourage. But I mean, to some extent, you have to look at like the ethics of a fight club, right? Like these are grown ass men that consent to getting the shit kicked out of them, right? And you don't need to sign a fucking waiver. I think anyone can tell you that it's a pretty moral thing, right? But legally, obviously, we can't let it slide because we shouldn't be encouraging bare knuckle boxing, right? Is the I guess the fancy way to like this fancy term, right? Bare knuckle boxing, aka like fist fighting and beating the shit out of each other, right? So yeah, I mean, to some extent, it's an empowering thing, right? To reclaim something that society tells you that you should be ashamed of, to embrace your masculinity, to beat the shit out of other men, right? It's very empowering. But but where it all goes wrong is that Tyler uses this as a um, Tyler uses the Fight Club to fulfill his own vendetta against society, right? And to some extent, he's right. Okay, half the movie is about masculinity, and the other half is mostly about consumerism and like advertising and the whole 9 yards, right? And how like the culture that we live in is so dominated by these like corporations or whatever. And to some extent, like it's true, right? Like we're, humans are so material, and Tyler's this whole thing in the beginning of the movie about like in the state of nature, do you need like IKEA bed or IKEA furniture or whatever, right? And this is like a prevalent theme throughout the movie, right? Like the state of nature, right? The this tendency towards violence that these men have, that's the state of nature, right? And so on and so forth. So like this is a recurring theme throughout the movie, and to some extent, it's he's right, right? Like you don't need an IKEA bed in the state of nature, and really, it's like the fact that you feel the need that you need like IKEA furniture or whatever is a result of this advertising, right? And he's right that like advertising dehumanizes you, and it's very it's like a group the word is escaping me right now, but it's very like uniform thing, right? Everyone has the same manufactured piece of furniture, and in the world Tyler envisions, he's trying to restore like individualism to these men, right, through the Fight Club. So there's that. Okay, so to like the extent of like is Tyler's philosophy about Fight Club like correct? Absolutely, he is right. Um, Again, I'm not going to condone a underground like Fight Club because there's a lot of things that can and will go wrong, right? Like, what's his name? The blonde guy, like he gets the shit beat out of him so bad, like his face is permanently disfigured, right? And while he did consent to it and he's a full grown adult, we as a society should try to protect people from themselves, right? That's why we have stuff like uh, like we have so many laws that technically it's your choice and you're not really hurting anyone else that didn't consent, but it's just protect you from yourself, right? So there's that, and it's just not encouraging behavior, right? Because sometimes saying nothing is saying yes, right? And we don't want to say yes to men like potentially like killing each other. So yeah, um, there's that. But to some extent, like this fight club, this underground boxing ring or whatever, it's empowering, right? It's giving these men a place to belong, something they're all lacking in their lives, and it's giving them. And Tyler's Project Mayhem is giving these men a sense of purpose, right? And whether the sense of purpose is flawed, it absolutely is, right? Like you shouldn't be destroying uh, you shouldn't be destroying other people's things to fulfill your own. Even if these credit card companies prey on the beak, right? What gives you the right to like be the arbiter of justice and to destroy their company headquarters, right? Nothing, right? The fact of the matter is that justice shouldn't be carried out by an individual or a group, I guess. That's all following an individual, anyways, right? Because it's a cult. But yeah, so there's that. The Fight Club is inherently a positive thing, right? Because it's empowering, right? Fight Club's OnlyFans to men. Think about it like that, okay? And they're also seen the exact same way, right? Like OnlyFans is legal, but at the same time, it's seen as morally not okay by certain groups of people. And you may say the same thing about a Fight Club, right? Like you're encouraging violence, and as a society, we should try to stray away from violence, right? But I think it's a healthy outlet, right? Like boxing is a very violent sport, but we shouldn't ban boxing, right? Um, Again, you should not uh, partake in a Fight Club. I'm not encouraging a Fight Club. Okay, but the second philosophy to it is this idea that like Tyler Durden at its core, he's a very hardcore um, nihilist, right? He's an anarchist first and foremost, because he wants to like reset the world and erase the credit records, and like he wants to like have this off grid life or whatever, right? So he's an anarchist, and obviously the way he chases his goals is wrong, right? Like again, I don't know, like even if he's not killing anyone or hurting anyone in these explosions, one blowing up credit card headquarters is going to do anything, and because like digital records, right? And two, you're still damaging property, and then like people will need to pay, and like really, like yeah. So there's that. And you can't really blame a corporation for providing a service that people subscribe to, right? Because if a society found all credit card companies so moral that they shouldn't be operable anymore, no one will use a credit card anymore, right? So there's that. Um, right. So the second thing in Fight Club is this. I guess Tyler's philosophy, towards the world, right? He sees he's some he takes a lens of like what were humans meant to do on like the Great Plains, right? Or like our prehistoric ancestors, what would they want, right? That's always the question. And to some extent, like I kind of agree with him. Like a lot of answers about I think a lot of answers that for like human behavior can be understood through evolution, right? Because at the end of the day, no matter how complex we are, we're still animals, and we are the way we are because of genetic programming, right? Um, yeah. So also, I think the problem with like the whole destruction thing is also you're forcing your personal philosophy on the world, right? Like not everyone sees the same way he does, right? Like I think, like personally, I think veganism is a good thing, but I wouldn't force that on everybody in the world, right? Because that's unfair. Like I think it's up to them to make their own decision about that, right? But yeah, okay. So uh, yeah. So the second part, a Fight Club, is about like this rebellion against society, and yeah, like the idea that like Tyler lives in a house isolated from the rest of society. That's like a metaphor, right, for how he's isolated from society, and he's rebelling against it, right? Right. So there's that, and then there's one more that I'm like struggling to pinpoint. It's kind of annoying. Uh, we can skip ahead until whenever I start talking again. I don't know. Um, we're really blanking. Oh, right. It's this whole idea of it's like a very Buddhist thing, right? It's this idea of like material possessions. Like in the Fight Club, you have to strip off your shirt, right? And I think that's a metaphor for like losing your material possessions, right? And then um, like he blows up his house with all his IKEA furniture, and he lets go of all these things to live off the grid and to like fuck around basically, right? And to some extent, his philosophy is right, right? Like Tyler says this, like it's very famous saying. It's like eventually your material possessions will possess you, right? You will be controlled by your material possessions, and he's absolutely right, right? Like it's this idea of like more money, more problems, and to some extent, bruh, and to some extent, uh, like if you have a nice, really nice car, right, like a Hellcat, you'll be so scared to drive it. Do you know why? Because if you fucking crash that thing, the insurance is gonna like absolutely destroy your bank account, right? So It's this idea that like these material possessions eventually only control you, right? Like now you're scared to drive because you're scared that some dipshit will like rear end your McLaren, and now then you have to go through this giant hassle with the insurance company or whatever, right? Like if you're driving a 2006 Toyota Camry, you're a lot less scared of an accident, and thus you're a lot more free than if you're driving a 2025 Hellcat, right? It's that idea. And I guess the second idea is this idea of letting go, right? Like one of the scenes, Tyler has to let go of the steering wheel and let go of control of his life, right? Like literally just go with the flow, and put your life in the hands of God, or or fate, right? So I think it's really like beautiful philosophy, right? Like there, I mean, to some extent, you should strive to like do what you want with your life, right? It's your life. You should do what you so please. But also at the same time, it's healthy to sometimes just go with the flow, right? Realize um, you controlling everything might like make you miserable, or sometimes you have no control, right? And you should just live life as it takes you. And that I also found that pretty interesting. So overall, what would I say about Fight Club's philosophy? I thought I agreed with a lot of things that Tyler stood for, and I like the idea of a Fight Club. Right? I think it's a very empowering thing for men, and even though it does encourage violence, I think it's a controlled violence, and or controlled to some extent, right? And um, if they find personal fulfillment and meaning in life because of this Fight Club, then so be it, right? Where it all goes wrong, obviously, is like the whole Project Mayhem thing, the cult thing. Um, I have an opinion on cults, but I think we can leave that for another day. But yeah, that's where it all goes wrong. And I think a lot of the things that Tyler says about letting go of like absolute control in your life, not focusing on material possessions, not buying into this consumer culture, right? A lot of those things are absolutely true. And yeah, I mean, he's very right, right? Where it all goes wrong is trying to push his personal philosophy onto others, right? Because no matter how right and how logical your philosophy is, some will still choose to hide behind the veil of ignorance, or just some, maybe you really just can't let go of IKEA furniture, right? And so be it. I mean, it's your life. You live it how you want to live it, whether that is behind the veil of ignorance, right? Yep. Subscribe.